Hello, Master Shakoor.
How are you today?
Doing wonderful. It's a rainy day, a gray day.
Oh yeah, it feels good out here, even though it's appeared that it's getting ready to rain or it's been drizzling back and forth. Being out here in nature and viewing the beautiful clouds and the trees and it's just the air is very calming and cool. It's a very nice environment. I
Yes.
wish everyone could be here with us at this in this location.
Yeah, this is a wonderful place to do just what we're doing.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're shooting. This is a section of to be added to the previous video about mindfulness, and I just had a few questions.
Okay.
Hopefully, this can help people out there. Basically, one of the things that I have a question about, you mentioned energy work, and that is a very generic term that many times it doesn't have a very specific meaning. So will you tell us more about what energy is?
I will answer it to the best of my understanding. There's many, many definitions, and it's a very, very vast concept. And in many cases, I would say the focal point of energy comes from one's mind or one's consciousness. It's basically energy and consciousness are basically synonymous. Now, a lot of times people don't want to use the word consciousness, so they say the word energy. So that's the best way that I can answer it. Now, it can manifest in many, many different forms. There's the unseen, what we say, motive force that we can't see, but we feel the presence of it. Like we feel the wind. That is a type of energy or that manifests. For example, changes in nature. There's an unseen force that causes the seasons to change. There's an unseen force that is the motive force behind our bodily changes from childhood to adolescence to adulthood to old age to eventually passing on to where the physical body dissolves and goes back into the elements. Okay, many people in the energetic fields feel that the physical body goes back to the elements, but our energetic body and our mind body still exists. In some systems, people call that the soul. The spirit would be more like the energy. The soul would be that aspect which is, you want to say, that's always around. Some systems say the mind is the only thing that exists. Some people call it the soul. Different terms, from my understanding, I would say it's all the same. It's just a difference in terminology.
So when you talk about energy work, what is it exactly that you are referring to?
This is basically various exercises that and techniques that ultimately help one get back to the core of their being, the core of who they are. Sometimes when you do the techniques, the first place that you feel change is in the physical body, because many of us have what we call energetic blocks, or more literal pains and various diseases. The motive force behind that would be energetic stagnation. So many of the techniques that we practice help unblock that energetic stagnation that brings about wellness to the physical organs. For example, also doing the same energetic practices, one can then uncover and unblock various psychological stagnation, which we usually call painful events that have happened in our life and that somewhat affect our present reality. So that's some of the benefits of the energetic practices and how they work. And then also, they also help maintain us almost like a tune-up to where we can reach our maximum efficiency consciously, to where we can reach our highest potential. So not only are the techniques used as a form of detoxification or purification and strengthening of the mind, body, and spirit, but they're also used to heighten us to where we can reach our highest potential.
So, talking about mindfulness, once you sit there, and like you said, you are not to try to stop thoughts. Once you sit there and this barrage of thoughts start happening, and you notice them, is there anything that you should be doing with them, or how do you do to disengage from reacting or interacting with these thoughts?
Well, first of all, like anything else, this takes practice. And from my experience and from many people that I've talked with and many students that I've had, the first thing people want to do is get up and move around physically. So the first thing you want to do, if that happens, is to sit still. Secondly, you want to try to focus your attention or your mind on one thing. As I stated in the video, I use the counting method, which is one that's commonly taught, where you focus on the inhalation, exhalation, and keep a mental count going. But that's not the only thing that one can do. One could have an affirmation that they're mentally saying over and over in their mind. One could have a prayer, or using certain terminology, a mantra, or what they call a zikr, a repetition of a prayer, to where you change the vibration, the energetic vibration in yourself by saying that constantly over and over again. So therefore, everything is being focused on that one phrase, and it begins to nullify the other barrage of thoughts that are going on. In other words, the word mantra means to save the mind. So it's basically something to focus the mind, these repetitions. Some people use something called as a yantra, where they focus on some type of diagram, and they look at that. Some people light a candle, and they focus on the light in the candle. So there are many different techniques that have been used to accomplish the same goal.
So is there, since you're talking about energy being consciousness, or one of the forms of energy being consciousness, when you do mindfulness, is there anything in particular that you should be monitoring or paying attention to?
No, you just sit there. You don't pay attention to anything other than what I just said previously. If in fact you have a barrage of thoughts to where it's so uncomfortable to sit, or so uncomfortable to attain some state of peace, you want to then use the technique of either counting, focusing on breathing, affirmation, mantra. I also mentioned yantra, or focusing on some type of diagram, or like a dot or something like that, or flame.
Are there any?
And those are just some things, to name a few. In other words, you want to bring all your attention to one concept only, and it nullifies the other thoughts. And over time, let me finish this last point. People have to remember that patience is a very, very important aspect. That patience and consistency, to consistently practice no more than 15 to 30 seconds at a time. To consistently do this, one will over time suddenly begin to feel the results. Sometimes other people will see the change, sometimes before you see the change. And you will begin to see that you less and less react to certain type of stimuli, whether you hear it on the radio, TV, hear it in the news, or hear things that people might say to you that normally would cause you to get emotionally upset.
So are there any feelings that you should be expecting?
Have no expectation. You'll have no expectation, because as soon as any kind of concept is put out, then the mind begins to think on that. It defeats the whole purpose of mindfulness.
Right. So what? Since for somebody that's beginning this, and they sit once, and they basically don't feel anything, they're not doing anything, and of course the mind is going to be telling them, you know, you're wasting your time. What should be the motivator for somebody to sit again and again and again, day after day, if they're not seeing any results, they're not feeling any results? Why should they keep doing this?
Well, at that point, the best answer I can give is the fact that this mindfulness technique has been done for thousands of years, and there are many personalities, famous personalities, that have done this and have gotten results. So if the person's not getting any type of results, they don't feel anything, then the motivation then would have to be, I have to use the word faith, that you want to give yourself a certain length of time. In other words, for 120 days or for 90 days, I'm going to do this practice. No more than 15 seconds. Everyone has 15 to 30 seconds a day where it won't cause no harm in their their daily routine to devote to this, minimum. And then at the end of maybe 90 days, 120 days, a person can then evaluate to see if they actually feel a change in their mental state or their overall being.
Yeah, I had to move because there is
oh yeah, rain. That's right.
And but anyway, to continue here, so in my personal experience, I found that meditation, like you said, maybe other people notice the differences in you before you notice it. So the changes that you might be seeing are very gradual, right?
In most cases, it can be gradual, but I don't want to make absolute statements saying that this is what it's going to be for everybody, because every single person is different. The main aspect is that we want to clear the mind, and then another understanding comes about. So mindfulness is not meditation, because meditation a lot of times have different connotations. People focusing on a particular subject or an object or an idea. In mindfulness, we're not focusing on anything other than being still, period, and not doing anything. And that's a concept that many people, most of us are not familiar with, not doing nothing. And so that's when we sit still, the first thing that happens is we hear all this chatter, or can hear all this chatter going on in our head.
Okay, Master Shakoor, I think because of the sound of the rain, we're going to cut this video a little short. But I want to encourage all those people that can that look at this video, and if you have any questions, just post them, and we'll try to answer them the best we can.
Also, this is also in my book, The Ghetto Sutras, which is on Amazon.com, which speaks in detail about what I just talked about, mindfulness, as well as several other techniques for one reaching their maximum efficiency, consciously. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.